Okay, welcome everyone to this week's Reps Call. Today we have a special guest, Solana and Larsen is here from lovely Berlin, but we are not in the same room. We're taking both the call from home, but Solana is from the lovely Berlin office, and she's going to talk a little bit about the Internet Health Report 2019 that was released yesterday. But before we go to that, I'm going to say hello to who is in the room in the Etherpad. Hello to Lydia, Matthew, Pransnu, Ramiba, Kiki, Solana, of course, Suhail, somebody from the Toronto office, and Yuli. We also have Abhilash in the Etherpad. Today, Kiki, the theme is asking, what is your hope for the future of the internet? And we have people that are hoping for open, healthy, less hoax distributed, decentralized, and more secure internet. Please go ahead and add your ideas about how you're hoping the internet to be. This is a theme based because Solana is joining us here today. We have some shout outs. We have a shout out for Dicky for winning the Mozillian of the Month, and of course for Yofi for nominating Dicky to be the Mozillian of the Month. So congratulations, Dicky. And congratulations and thank you, Yofi, for nominating Dicky. There is not going to be another Mozillian of the Month coming next month. Ivan is going to post about it, and you all going to have the chance to nominate work of other fellow Mozillians around the globe. With that, I am going to give the floor to Solana. She's going to talk a little bit about Internet Health Report. And after that, you will have the floor to ask questions for Solana. Solana, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. It's nice to meet you. Nice to have a chance to talk to you. I hope you have questions. This year's health report has 3 spotlight topics. I hope you've had a chance to take a look, but the first one is about AI and the kinds of questions we should be asking about artificial intelligence and machine learning, and what kind of ideas and thoughts go into creating these kinds of technologies, and whether a diverse set of people are involved, and whether, I guess, the creators and the companies and the governments and everybody is thinking carefully enough about what the potential risks might be. That's a big piece. Then there's another piece that is called the power of cities. That's a spotlight topic as well. And a lot of times people say, oh, you mean smart cities. But it's absolutely not smart cities. It's about how cities have power, like an untapped power really, to help make the internet better. And that if they're supported by civil society, then city governments can really become champions of digital rights and internet health. And so it's thinking about how to work together with cities strategically, and not only think about things at the national level or the global level. And then the final spotlight piece is about rethinking digital ads. I think we've been kind of globally and thinking about what's wrong with the internet and what we can improve. There's a lot of understanding for how an ad-driven, data-driven ecosystem has negative effects like disinformation and harassment and other things that we're learning. But it's almost, I feel, gone out of fashion to talk about, well, what do we do then? What do we do with the ads? How do we think about alternatives? And the argument that the health report makes, I mean, there are a lot of open-ended questions in all these topics, but the strongest argument in this, I think, is about whether we can have privacy alongside ads. So it's not saying, you know, we should get rid of all ads or all digital ads or online ads are bad. It's thinking about, well, is it really necessary that they suck up all our data at the same time? Can we have the ads without? And so these are some of the big questions. I try and in editing the stories and thinking about what to include, I try to include topics that are relevant to people around the world. I think a lot of the time, including in the health report and including in a lot of the things that Mozilla publishes about the internet, I think we tend to look at things from a very kind of Anglophone, Western perspective. I try and think a lot about how we talk about issues, and that we think about how effects of the internet are felt around the world. And it's one of the things that I really enjoy from the rep community and from readers. And we have our own little global committee of people, including some reps who help advise on the report, is to kind of get feedback on where are we being sensitive, insensitive, how can we talk about, you know, something that's really important in Puerto Rico as something that's important for everybody else? Or how can we talk about an election that went wrong in Brazil and still have it written in a way that makes sense to people in completely different parts of the world? And so I think that's part of the challenge of the report, and one of the things that's hardest to get wrong. And my hope is that people will read it all around the world, like within the Mozilla community and also just the general public, and we'll read it, and we have this feature called reading lists. So you can make your own reading lists of stories that you either want to read now or later, and you can share them with people. And we've created these featured reading lists where different people have given some examples of how they share things. And I hope basically that people will do that, and that this can be a conversation starter for also more locally relevant conversations, you know, that people will take 3 or 4 stories and say, this is really interesting, and I see parallels to what's happening in my situation, or look at what these great activists or software developers did. I want to do something similar in my part of the world. And that the health report can be inspiring and not just depressing about all the things that are going wrong. That's it. That's all I have to say, I guess. If there are any questions, I am ready to answer.
Thank you very much, Solana. Are there any questions in the room? Otherwise, we should look at the GitHub part. Oh, Luis is writing. Yes. Luis, do you want to vocalize your question, or do you want me to vocalize your question?
Oh, yeah, I will be very quick. Hello, everyone. Hello, Solana. Hello, Constantina. Are plans to localize this Europe report, or this report only are going to be available in English?
No, it is being translated right now. The first translation we're going to publish will be on Saturday. I think on Saturday, maybe a bit longer, but the first one will be Spanish, and then we'll do French, and then we'll do German. And the reason we decided to do it staggered, like one after another this year, was like all the years we did the same languages, but I felt like we didn't give them proper attention. Like they were just launched, and then because we spent so much time communicating about the English launch and doing press communications and things, and we didn't really get to give the other language versions proper attention. So on Saturday, we're launching the Spanish version. I don't know if we'll have the entire PDF, but most of the report is translated. And in Spanish, we're having a launch event in Colombia with Monica Bonilla, and that will be on Saturday. And then we're going to have an event for French in Francophone Africa, and finally in Germany will be the last language that we launch in June. And we'll be launching it with the Wikimedia event. So we're trying to work with local partners. The event in French will be with Reporters Without Borders. Internet Without Borders, Internet Sans Frontières. And I think that's trying to kind of branch out and have the report take on more of a life in different languages and try and engage with more community effort. That's been the idea. I think, you know, my grand ambition or wish would be that more people would do smaller adaptations of the health report, that people would write shorter articles or blog posts or even longer reports, their own versions of here's the health report for my city, or here's the health report for my country. But we haven't got a very big specific plan for it yet. But I think that that's going to be the challenge for the next years, to see if people are interested in doing that, if that would be fun. Yep.
Cool. Thank you, Solana. Any other questions in the room?
I actually have one. It's Kiki, by the way. Sorry, I face mute myself. So, Solana, I think for me personally, I think I have the most interest in the AI topic, and I was wondering because I believe that AI have and like bad and good things that comes with this new technology, but yeah, I was wondering like who do you think are the most impactful um, people or community from the AI development that like we have like biases in AI in the current AI technology. So who do you think are the most impactful from that bias, and how do you think we should do in order to improve that?
You mean who is negatively affected by bias?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that we all might be. We all might be more than we realize, and that's part of the scary part. There's no question that anywhere in the world, whoever is vulnerable is going to be most at risk, because that's how it always goes, no matter what it is. And that's why it's so, I mean, when you think of all the things that could go wrong, that's what's really terrifying, because when these very big companies are told this might have risks, they don't take it seriously, or they don't have empathy with the people who are saying it enough to actually change their practices. And so when you look at things like, where does the funding come from for AI research and AI development, how much comes from military, how much comes from government, then yeah, it makes me worry, because you don't see that kind of investment coming from public good institutions, not on that scale. And we're just in civil society, I think, beginning to think about these issues. And the technology is so hard for most people to understand. I mean, I don't, you guys understand it better than I do, I'm sure. But we have to do something. And I think part of what I'm beginning to understand by just like talking to people who know the topic better is that if we can get more diversity in the room, in the places where these decisions are made, and where the funding decisions are made, and where the development decisions are made, and in the schools and universities and institutes, that will at least help, because then you're sure that there are people who are more likely to have empathy in the room with people who might be negatively affected. So I don't know, that's part of it. But it's right now, I think even those of us who care about these issues are only starting to see AI as something that belongs to our kind of list of concerns.
Thank you, Solana. And I'm gonna go to another one that just came in. What do you think is a social media platform's responsibility? How far does their accountability go in terms of keeping the internet healthier?
Um, I think this is a tricky one as well, because you don't want companies in charge of censoring free speech, and you don't want governments in charge of censoring free speech, and at the same time you don't want lots of hate speech and harassment. And so I think the problem when we talk about solutions to this is that we tend to think about one solution at a time, when we probably need multiple things to happen at once. And that makes it really difficult to speak about these topics easily. I think the one thing we definitely want is for platforms to be sharing more information about how they themselves moderate, what the decision-making process is for it, what they've removed, why, what their rules are for things like bots. There's a lot of areas where there isn't really enough clarity for independent researchers to help give advice about what would help. And so you have things like transparency reports, which are great, and it's a start, and there is some dialogue and there is acceptance of the problem. But unless the researchers have full access to be able to do proper research on what strategies work and what don't, then we don't really know what to advise. And the companies keep that stuff really close. They keep their cards very close. And so I think that's one of the biggest problems. Governments don't understand these things very well, and they tend to want to overregulate. So that has to be watched. But I do think the companies have not taken it upon themselves to work with researchers. They have not taken their responsibility seriously. And if you look at how they react, it's usually only with like very serious public relations scandals. That is something that, like, so you have like the crisis in Myanmar. They were very good and skilled at getting attention, and that has prompted some action and some recognition. But then, you know, when you look at how many different communities and countries and languages that are affected, it's not in any way realistic that they're going to be able to do the same thing. So part of the problem, and I think those of us who are active with Mozilla understand this, part of the problem is also that everybody's on one platform. You know, if you don't have diversity, if you don't have any kind of, you know, maybe it's a decentralized kind of thing you need, or maybe it's just a completely different local alternative, or maybe, you know, there's just a whole different set of options that could involve not being everybody on the same platform with the same centralized governance mechanism. So I don't know. I think in that field as well, more diversity and interoperability between different services would probably help. But yeah, for now we can just wish for more information and really like watch both companies and governments and people, because people are terrible as well sometimes.
Okay, I am gonna combine the two last questions because they are kind of similar, and leave with a happy note. There is the question is: are there any plans to launch the presenting Chinese version of Internet Health Report in Hong Kong or Taiwan, or present English version in Hong Kong or Taiwan? And there is also a question: if there is a plan to present the Internet Health Report in another form, like a video.
I always wanted to do an audio version of the health report, but it was beyond we weren't able to do it this year. And I don't know, maybe in the future, it would be nice to have some different audio components. I think that is probably more appropriate than video. We don't have any current plans for Chinese version, and especially not for localization of the website. We did have a Chinese PDF, I think the first, maybe even also the second year, but we don't have right now. Anybody who would like to hold an event, we do have materials. We have a slideshow and different things and different resources, and we can definitely localize that. And if anybody would like to present the report or do something with the report locally, definitely would love that. Really would like that. We just launched yesterday, so we're still figuring out lots of things. But you know, the report is meant to last for a long time, for a year. But I think we want to do as much as possible. The person who's in charge of helping coordinate local events and outreach activities, his name is Jairus, and I know some of you know him already. And he's working on a strategy and can say more than I can really.
Cool. Thank you very much, Solana. I am gonna pass to the next topic because we only have 5 minutes, but I think it's totally worth it to spend so much time on the Internet Health Report.
I hope you
Thank you,
enjoy
Solana,
it.
for coming.
Yeah,
Thank
I hope you
very
enjoy
much.
it, and send me any feedback you like. Also, negative feedback is fine too. Take care.
Thank you very much, Solana. Have a great day. All right. I am going to pass to the next topic. Kiki is going to talk about the reps resources application. Kiki, you have 2-3 minutes. I'm sorry, Kiki.
That's okay. I can go fast. It's not a long announcement actually. So it's the time of the year after some reps actually ping me and demanded to have another rep resources training. So we finally will have another one this year. I think the first one we have is in 2017, I guess. So after 2 years from the first cycle, we actually will have another training. Um, so if you haven't heard about rep resources, those are actually reps who are trained to deal with resources, obviously. So they are trained to plan an event and how to plan an event in strategic way, and also align with the Mozilla goal of the year. So um, in order to be a rep resources, you have 3 requirements. So the first one is you have to join a spatial training, which will last for 3 weeks. And so please be mindful that you will have to allocate maybe 2 hours per week for that training. We'll have a video call for 1 hour each week, and you will also have to go um, through the course in Teachable. And the second one is that you have to organize at least one impactful zero budget initiative, and it's included in the form if you want it to be a resources rep. And the third one is that you have to have all your previous Bugzilla bug closed. So if you still have an open budget request, please update that so you will be eligible to be a rep resources. And the form will be open until 6th of May. So yeah, please apply for those of you who wanted to help your community um, to manage resources.
Thank you very, very much, Kiki. So if you want to be money people, you can join then training for the resources reps. Do we have any questions? We already have a question. Is anyone with zero knowledge of it eligible to apply, Kiki?
Zero knowledge. Okay. Well, I believe you can, because we will have another screening. So after people apply for to be a rep resources, we will have to filter out those people who are not eligible from the previous requirements that I already mentioned. So yeah, you can totally apply if you have zero knowledge, because you will be trained anyway in the during the 3 weeks. So yep.
Cool. Any other questions for the money lady? Nope. Okie dokie. I'm gonna give the very quick cancel update. There is a rep subscription update that Michael from the peers is asking for your feedback. So please go and check on Discord and leave any feedback that you have for Michael, so we can unify the message about the reps. I also wanted to let you know that the onboarding for the new reps council members is already has started this week. Actually, their call is after this call. So the people who join next week are already starting their onboarding. For those of you who are interested to know how this is happening, it's a 3 weeks process where the first week they have to attend a mandatory call where there is explained on what there is going to happen. The next week they are attending the reps council call to understand the processes, and they are also combined with other people on the council to understand if they have any questions. They're called council buddies. And on the third week, they are starting to get their responsibilities while the council bodies are acting as their mentors. Once the 3 weeks are finished, and of course, all the stuff are around like accounts and everything are given, the old council is leaving us and the new council is starting the process. I don't have anything else. For those of you who are participating on the Common Voice campaign that we launch next week, thank you very much. Pransnu, I know that you already have an event. Thank you very much. And thank you for all the other people that have already arranged an event. For that, I will see you all next week. Have a great day, you all. Bye.
Bye.
Hola.